Every week I have the opportunity to meet with Christian business folks all over the city who are wrestling with what it means to honor God in their work. And one thing's become really clear to me is there are a lot of people that wake up every morning not sure why what they're gonna do matters to God. Here at Faith Co-op, we desire to help awaken Christians to how their faith brings daily purpose. We go about trying to meet this mission by offering lots of different opportunities for people in Chattanooga to gather and wrestle with these questions. Faith and Work 101, the Faith-Driven Network, Main and Market Fellows, the Chattanooga Fellows, and our Lunch and Learn series. We do these things Christ-centered, they're vocationally focused, and they're for people here in Chattanooga.
As we begin to see how the gospel really explodes and reshapes and reimagines our work and our relationships and our neighborhoods, all of a sudden our care and concern for the city, our care and concern for our communities grows all the deeper. Jesus is making us more and more into his image, and that's true for our Main and Market Fellows and our Chattanooga Fellows and everyone that participates, we would hope, in Faith Co-op, that we would begin to love the community more fully, that the city would flourish, and that in its peace we would find our peace.
We often get taught, right, the Lord's Prayer, and there's a line that we kind of take for granted, right? There's an order in heaven as it should be on earth. So there's an order on earth that God had really, he structured this thing in heaven, and he gave us a blueprint. And what does it look like? Right? It looks like showing up for one another. It looks like being able to recognize the God in you. Like you have just as much God in you as I have in me. And that means that we all are flawed, but we all have the ability to be righteous as well, right? So what does that look like? How do I show that? How do I embrace people at the boardroom table? Because when it's all said and done, only that which I do for Christ is gonna last. So even if I'm negotiating a business deal, if God is not at the center, even if we're passing public policy, if God is not at the center, it's not gonna last anyway. And so we wanna make sure that when we're working in systems, that the things that we're upholding are aligning with the Bible, with the Word of God, helping us to see that, you know what, at the end of all of this, those things that lined up is gonna lead more people to the place that we as believers want them to go, and that's to heaven.
So when I joined Main and Market Fellows, I started to see some changes in how I approached things at work. The biggest impact that I saw was how I viewed others. And it's tough because before that, you see it as a means to get to a goal or to an end of progress that you need to make in a company, especially when you're leading a large amount of people. Through Main and Market Fellows, I was able to see that how everyone is created in the image of God, and they all have different ways that they are cultivating and building this world around us that God has already transforming and changing and growing as well. And we get to do that. We get to do that through helping our customers. We get to do that through being successful in projects and meeting our deadlines and having integrity in the work that we do and making our company better. And so being able to see that every day has given me so much more joy in what I do, knowing that I'm partnering with God in the day-to-day.
I think it changes things when you recognize that the job you have, the task in front of you, the service you're offering to a friend or a neighbor or a family member or someone in the community isn't something separate from your faith and your life with the Lord, but the very activities that make up your daily work, whether it's organizing, naming, calling, speaking, meeting, whatever it is that you do, are simple ways in which you are sharing in what God is doing to make things new. But also you get to see little inroads, little ways in which your kindness in your work, your skill in your work, your authenticity in your service is something that begins to make a little bit of a difference. You know, Paul tells us that we're to shine like stars in the universe, and sometimes some of you or some of us work in pretty dark spaces, and simply being a light and being someone who declares the praises of God is the vocation we're called to in the small ways that he gives us.
What would it look like if Christians from different backgrounds, ethnicities, professions, denominations came together around the idea that God cares about not just my soul, but what we do in the world around us through our work and service? How would that change our theology? How would that change the community that we have? And what would that do for the city? Come, join in with Faith Co-op as we wrestle with what it means to connect our work with God's work.